Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a war drama film called The Guard of Auschwitz. Spoilers incoming. In the beginning, an old man is scribbling a portrait on his canvas. Meanwhile, another man, who is holding a skull-handled cane, is on his way to where he wishes to go. He then reaches his destination, to which the scene changes to the old man who looks up with his eyes full of stories to tell. Going back to the past, the time takes place in the year when the youth are being educated about their beloved Führer Hitler. At such an early age, where children are still developing their understanding of the world, a man is bestowing unto them the devotion that they should have for Hitler. On the other hand, away from them is a young kid who has his own little world of art, and none of the Nazi propaganda. After a short class about Hitler and their propaganda for the youth, the man goes up to the young kid. He tells him that he had been eyeing him ever since, but never did he ever join them. He then gives him a Nazi uniform intended for the youth, to which he adds that he is gladly welcome to join them anytime, but if he ever changes his mind, he can always return the uniform. Years go by, and the young kid is finally a grown young man. His love for art remains, as he continues with his hobby by painting an artwork over a hill. The young man's name is Hans and is now an architecture graduate. He shares this achievement of his during their family dinner, wherein his father is greatly proud of his son, who receives numerous job offers just after his graduation. The father and son both share their love for Hitler, but between conversations, Hans' father also tells him that there are some things that he doesn't agree with their leader. However, Hans continues to shower his gratitude towards Hitler, and so his mother butts into their conversation. She explains to his son that their celebration for Hans is not the time and place to talk about Hitler. She proceeds to raise a toast for their son, with Hans raising a toast to a portrait of Hitler on their wall. In the Krakow ghetto for Jewish people, there lived a couple who quietly enjoys their warm soup together. The wife named Helena expresses her desire of having a family, and dislikes waiting for the war to end before having one. Unfortunately, to her dismay, her husband Samuel doesn't agree with her idea, since he doesn't want their child to grow up in such a dreadful life under the Nazis' regimen. As he continues to explain and convey his deep love for his wife, Helena finally understands it and eventually agrees with him. Back at Hans' home, his mother continues to admire his son's architectural talents. She then jokingly tells him that he can now start building their home and a playhouse for her little sister, to which Hans gladly starts drawing on his paper. After a heartwarming time with his family, Hans goes forth to continue working as an architect under one of the concentration camps in Auschwitz, as per recommended by his father. As a man full of dreams in his eyes, he starts to pack his things. At the same time, Jews are being transported to Auschwitz, and this includes Samuel and Helena. As the Jews reach their destination, a soldier explains to them the rules in the concentration camp, with men and women being separated from one another. Helena and the other women leave all their belongings to go to their cramped-up room full of mice, and dress in prisoner uniforms. Later that day, Hans had just finished putting on his uniform and he then draws a building that he hopes to be built in the concentration camp. At Klaus' office, the one who oversees the concentration camp in Auschwitz, Franz introduces Hans to him. Even though Klaus sees him as an idiot, he is amazed by seeing Hans' artwork. Hans then takes this opportunity to request a transfer to the front lines, but Klaus tells him that he is to be put in the Prost to improve the sanitation there, as directed from the top. The following day, Klaus gives him a tour of where the women are staying. He is baffled to see Klaus slap one of the prisoners, Helena, for no particular reason. Seeing that she is bleeding, he sneakily drops his handkerchief in an attempt for Helena to use it. They continue to go outside, where Klaus instructs him to create a big gas chamber for a larger crowd to fit in, to which he agrees to make one. As they are going back, Klaus sees the handkerchief on the floor and accuses one of the prisoners of stealing. He then pulls one of them and attempts to hit her. Fortunately, Hans stops him and admits that it is his. However, being a heinous man, he shoots the woman in the head, along with another woman who spits at him because of what he had done. At night, he can't stop thinking about such cruel acts done by Klaus, but in the end, he continues to help build what Klaus wants. Klaus allows him to pick his workers, to which he hurriedly finds Helena in hopes to help her from being abused too much by the Germans. As he starts explaining to his workers about the sanitation room that they are about to build, Helena raises his concerns about why she is being chosen. She tells him that she is no use in construction since she is a seamstress, but Hans insists on letting her work by being responsible for the paperworks. As he seems that all is going well, Helena barges into his office and is furious at him. She tells him that they can't work properly since they are being pushed around all the time, leading to their engineer, Ruben, being hurt. Klaus sees the ruckus, to which Hans explains that he is their engineer that is greatly needed in their work. All of a sudden, Klaus shoots Ruben in his head and says that he is of no use now, so Hans should take another worker in place of Ruben. Klaus then talks to him outside and reveals his regarding Hans being too concerned with his workers. He threatens him to shoot a female Jew, or else he will be hanged due to treason. With no other choice, he shoots the woman himself, and Helena watches from afar as this horrific scene unfolds. Later on, he finally feels the guilt of his actions and attempts to kill himself by drinking cyanide inside a capsule. As he is about to his life, a memory flashes in his mind, where his mother is assuring him that his future will be great. Remembering the warmth of his mother, he changes his mind and continues drinking alcohol instead. Back at his office, Helena commends his artistry in drawing buildings, and so she asks what building he is making. He replies that it is a place where Nazis can reflect on their past actions, or more like a retirement place for them. Their conversation suddenly turns into an argument, where Helena explains that he has it better than Jews, since Jews eat and pee on the same metal bowl and have no choice whether to live or die. He then expresses that serving Hitler had always been entrenched in his mind ever since he was young, but he didn't expect to see the horror of Hitler's reign. Saying that he also cares for the Jewish people, Helena challenges him into saving even just a single Jew. She brings him to a man who is tied up and left for dead. He then tells her that he is on the verge of dying and has no chance of survival, so he leaves the tied-up man. Meanwhile, Klaus and Franz are having their usual conversation about their experience with the Jews, with Klaus showing off gold teeth that he had been collecting from them. The next day, Helena asks Hans the whereabouts of the tied-up man, to which he replies that he had freed him from his misery. They discuss their ideas once again, to which he explains that he had chosen Helena since the aggression that the Nazis are giving him seems to vanish as he laid his eyes on her. She also replies that she sees kindness in him, and so she admits to him that she had been pregnant ever since they are brought to Auschwitz, but her husband doesn't know. All of a sudden, Klaus visits him in his office and commands him that they hurry up the production of the sanitation rooms since more Jews are to be transported there. He assures him that he will finish up the work, but will need more workforce to make it happen. Klaus agrees but restricts women to be part of it, including Helena, but Hans insists that she is needed until the end of his work. As Klaus leaves, he then asks for the name of Helena's husband. 3 months pass, and Hans brings Helena to the newly built sanitation room. She starts to mock the design of the sanitation room since she knows that it is actually a gas chamber for Jews. Unknown to her, Hans surprises her by bringing his husband Samuel to her. They quickly embrace one another, after many months of being away from each other. Samuel then notices her baby bump and she talks about it. Without further ado, Samuel tells her that he is scheduled to be executed in a gas chamber due to them refusing the Sonderkommandos post, where they are to execute their fellow Jews. Hans leaves them together for a couple more minutes, before taking Samuel back. Moments later, Samuel's execution is being held, with Hans being there to watch him. Months later, another female prisoner takes care of Helena, who is almost in labor. She continues to help her out and instruct her on what she needs to do when her water breaks. Helena continues with her duties at Hans' office, and she suddenly stumbles while sweeping the floor. Klaus sees this and orders her to go near him so that she can be punished. Fortunately, Hans quickly thinks of an alibi and so Klaus lets it slide. As Klaus goes out, he quickly helps Helena lie down on the bed since she is about to give birth. The female prisoner also comes to their aid, and with their help, Helena successfully gives birth to a baby boy. Even though Helena wants him to stay with her, he insists that he needs to do something. Later on, Franz enters his office and sees him carrying Helena's baby. Franz is actually his father, but their relationship is hidden from the others. Instead of scolding him, Franz clarifies that he had always known that his son is an architect and not a murderer. Unfortunately, due to Hans' love for the Führer that had been clouded in his mind ever since, Franz has nothing else to do but let his son work for him in concentration camps. The father and son then go out fishing together and breathe fresh air far away from the camp. Franz continues to give words of advice to his son and even suggests that they work together in the same post. After that, Klaus receives a call where the war is said to end soon. He and Franz then discuss about gassing and cremating the Jews quickly, so that they can clear their evidence in just 6 weeks. Later that day, a drunk Klaus attempts to enter Hans' office, where Helena and her son are hiding. Luckily, Hans meets with him on time and there, Klaus gives him the privilege to try his gas chamber and kill the Jews. As he enters his office, his father rushes to meet with him as well, informing him that the Soviet army is advancing. Knowing that the Nazis are about to fall to their defeat, an immediate killing of Jews is necessary. As she is aware of what is happening, Helena chooses to drink Hans' cyanide, along with her son, instead of being gassed in one of the chambers. She appreciates Hans and the others' efforts in helping her, and as the two men go outside, she can only sing a lullaby to her son before ending their lives. On the other hand, Hans continues to execute the Jews in gas chambers as ordered. And on January 27 of 1945, Klaus and Franz are discussing their soon arrest and death penalty, when Franz suddenly kills Klaus and takes his cyanide pill. Franz, who also loses hope of being saved, drinks the cyanide and quickly ends his life. As the war ends, an old Hans continues to scribble all the memories that he had during the war, and as a guard in Auschwitz. His prison depicts the building that had designed, where Germans are to contemplate their past actions and immoral doings under Hitler. Just as Helena had said, she wants Hans to live and remember all the pain they had caused to Jewish people like her. And from that day on, the horror and memories of the past continue to haunt him even at an old age. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.